yourself?
Yeah, hey everybody. So I'm CISO at Sysdig. I'm running internal security, risk management, and also the field CISO program. I've spent around 20 years in cybersecurity industry, running cyber defense for Deutsche Bank for about 15 years, and then 6 years at Palo Alto Networks, being a field CISO role. So that's me. Yeah, look, I think AI is definitely changing a lot of things, but it's also doesn't really introduce new vectors or new approaches for cybersecurity. So first of all, I guess there's a lot of talk around how AI is going to speed up attacks, right? Because now with multimodal models, with agentic framework, you can just orchestrate all your hacking tools as an attacker, even without the deep knowledge on how to run these tools and really how quickly as well to orchestrate them. So now you can do all that, and so we start to see first experimentations which are very, very promising, and we start to see as well LLM models uncovering some zero-day alerts as well, zero-day vulnerabilities. This is all still in lab environment, but it's very likely it's going to happen very soon as well in the wild. I'm not worried so much about that, because I think the biggest worry to me is that the AI is also empowering all the people out there to produce software. And now, just looking at LinkedIn, I think almost every day there are tons of different examples, what great things you can produce with wipe coding, without really having understanding how to write software, going to Cloud, going to Lovable, to all these tools, and then produce apps, produce websites. And just looking at the research around all of these different tools like GitHub Copilot or Cursor, we see that on average 30 to 40% of this code is not being secured. I mean, some really basic security measures are not being considered. So that's what worries me most, because it's going to lead to an explosion of software, explosion of insecure software, and explosion of the attack surface. And we have simply just to prepare for that from a security point of view. And then another point perhaps is also the question, as we start to see now AI being used not as an API from ChatGPT and Anthropic, which is, I would say, 95% of cases, but AI really moving into the workloads and being consumed as well by the companies, as part of Kubernetes stack. And the question which is coming up in this space is just how to secure all of these workloads, because we all know Gen AI is not really trustful. It's a probabilistic and not deterministic model, so you have to assume breach in this space. Right. Look, I'm very excited about Falco. When Sysdig called up to join them, and obviously having as well this track of record, producing very successful open source software with Wireshark, we saw now since the graduation of Falco last year, Falco becoming the runtime security standard for Kubernetes, right? So we see today 60% of Fortune 500 companies using Falco already to get visibility into Kubernetes stack. And I think this is effectively now the standard out there for Kubernetes and platform engineering teams. And I think what we start to see is also that this information, this level of visibility is now getting demand from security teams, which is amazing because that is my background. I spent more than 15 years doing forensics, hunting certain threat actors. And to be effective in this space, or to be even able just to do proper forensics and reconstruct what is happening after an attack, you need to get visibility. And this is what Falco provides for Kubernetes, for cloud. And I'm very excited about that, because it means that we're first of all empowering the community, empowering the Kubernetes and platform engineering teams and security teams out there with our open source stack. But we can also use Falco as a platform for our cloud security platform in order to learn from that and then build a fully fledged cloud security platform on top of Falco for our commercial customers. Right, look, I think runtime security is not anymore optional, it's an essential component. And let's just play a small scenario. If I give you this one scenario where you can assume your cloud is secure, because every time you scan your cloud for vulnerabilities, there could be a zero-day vulnerability, and then you go back and fix this in time before it's getting exploited. And I give you a second scenario which assumes breach, where you can trust the open source code, because we know that nation state attackers are trying to build in backdoors like executils. We know that AI workloads are not being secured. We know that 25% of vulnerabilities are being exploited before patch is available. So if you have those two scenarios, Assume your cloud is secure and you can keep up with the speed of attackers versus assume bridge. What are you going to choose? And it's very often the case for most of the companies out there that they have to choose assume bridge. And if you assume bridge, you have to compensate for their attacks and you have to prepare for their attacks. And the only way to do it is not by static scan of your environment, and this is what we've saw posture management tools we're doing, but really in protecting environment. So I would say the previous generation of CNAPP and cloud security tools was very much focused on creating a map, right, of your cloud landscape. Runtime security is a radar, right? So with a map you get the understanding of your landscape, how the cloud is living, what is happening where. Whereas with a radar, you can see threats in real time. And you start to require that capability because the attackers are getting very smart and very fast. We see first attacks happening literally within 10 minutes from intrusion up to the data exfiltration. So you need to prepare for that because there's not a single human in the world who can react within 10 minutes. And even some like old traditional concepts and architectures where you would take certain telemetry from the cloud, send it to your SIEM, have somebody look at this, or have an automation playbook kicking in the actions. This is not going to work anymore because the time to story, the time to reaction is still, far above 10 minutes in most cases. So, and all of this, I think, is pushing runtime security to the center of the universe. And it's prime time for runtime. Yeah, look, I think we can learn from the past how security is evolving. And let's take endpoint security as a good example. We had the first generation of endpoint security tools being this antivirus tool, which would start once in a day, a scan of your environment, run for 2 hours, and then come back with results. The second generation was real-time security. Back then, Norton came up with this approach to say, we can scan for malware in real time on your endpoint. And then the next generation was endpoint detection response because real-time security was not able to find 100% of attacks. So you had to provide this visibility to the different security operations teams, forensics teams. And the same type of evolution is happening in the cloud security as well. The first generation, we had the posture management tools, trying to create this visibility. How's the environment looking like? The second generation was cloud workload protection was real-time security where you would have drift detection, for instance, and block everything what was bad as one of the controls in this space. And the next generation was starting to emerge after the real-time security is really the capability to provide visibility to security operations teams, to platform teams, and understand what is really happening on the container, on the workload, and then have this feedback loop in order to prevent this next time. And now, what is really important in this space is, and what is different to traditional world is, take the speed and the speed of the attacks first of all, but then also the dynamic mechanisms of the Kubernetes stack itself. We saw that this year, for the first time, most of our Kubernetes customers had a lifetime of a Kubernetes below 1 minute. So if the Kubernetes container lives just 1 minute, right, how quickly can you really respond manually? So you have to encounter for that. You have to encounter for blocking attacks, but then also having a flight recorder to collect information, what happened during this 1 minute, and be able to provide this as well to potential security operations teams or platform security team for further analysis, triage, and the feedback loop, how to make sure that this doesn't happen next time. Look, it's my first time being here at KubeCon. I'm a CISO. I don't know how many CISOs we have here at KubeCon. I don't think there are a lot of them. And what I find very, very important for our industry in general, for the cybersecurity industry, is to be able to build this bridge between Kubernetes, platform engineering, DevOps teams, and security teams. And I think there were some small bridges happening in the past, but we have really to bring these communities closer together. And this is what we start to see. And I think I'd love to invite as well my peer colleagues, other CISOs, security operations, to join this conference, but then also invite as well the DevOps teams to join security conferences so that we can have this closer collaboration between each other. I'm very excited about learning, all the new trends as well around Kubernetes. Platform engineering seems to be a very, very hot topic, and we in particular, we are very excited as well that with Falco graduation, we saw an exponential growth of Falco last year, and we start to see as well that runtime security is becoming a very important component, architectural component for majority of the companies out there, which was pretty new in the past, I would say. And very excited to see as well on our new announcements in the next couple of weeks and months on features we're going to release around that. All right, look, I'm very excited to be at KubeCon. This is my first time being at KubeCon here, and I think there's a general, a big demand for security teams to learn from platform engineering teams. So I'm a CISO, I don't know how many CISO fellow colleagues I have here at KubeCon, but there's definitely a demand. I think this is a bridge we should build, having more security folks attending KubeCon as well and learning how Kubernetes is working, what are the new trends as well around Kubernetes. I'm very excited that now we can celebrate 1 year graduation of Falco in CNCF, and with many releases as well during this last year around Falco, like StratoShark as well, which is sort of Wireshark for your container, for your platform environments, which is amazing because having done forensics for 15 years, I think it was very hard to really get a proper tool to analyze these environments, and everybody knows Wireshark, so that's an amazing way as well to get visibility on what's happening. So I'm very excited about that, and I'm very excited as well about the new releases we're going to announce in the next few months around our product as well, which is going to be built on top of that. So stay tuned, and it's prime time for runtime.